Well, good morning everyone, and happy Friday. If Friday's the day that you're viewing this video. If not, happy day, whatever day it is for you. This is Linda with lindasueplantsforyou, and today we're going to talk about the goldfish plant. The first thing I want to say about this is that this plant almost died on me completely about a year ago, and my husband, well, I need to give you a little bit of background here. I dealt with a very bad outbreak of thrips, and it affected a lot of my plants, and this was one of them. This, along with my Cissus rhombifolia and I don't know, a couple others that were just done, ready to send them to their happy home. And my husband, being the fix-it guy that he is, and very often in some very non-conventional ways, suggested that he had a can of ant and roach killer, and he said, why don't we try this? And my first reaction was, oh no, you can't spray that on houseplants. That'll kill it for sure. And he said, well, if they're already done and you've given up on them, what do you got to lose? And I thought, well, he's got a point there. I said, okay. So I agreed. I said, go ahead, spray it, soak it. Well, every plant that he used that on not only came back to life, but flourished. I mean, they're all thriving now. So I don't know, go figure, I guess. Now, I want to just set a little disclaimer here. I am not in any way advocating that you spray your houseplants with ant and roach killer, but it did work in this case, so I guess I'll just leave that up to you, what you want to do with that information. You know, like I said, I was pretty nervous about him doing that, but these were ready, they were done, they were dead, they were just about dead. And they have come back quite a bit. Now, this bigger plant that I'm trying to get this thing off of I had it in my laundry room, and it wasn't getting quite enough light, so I am going to move this into another room. But before I do that, I want to repot it. It's got a lot of beautiful foliage on it, but like I said, the top, I don't like all this brown in here, so I'm going to see what I can do to clean this up. And I'm hoping that will make this much greener all the way down. I'm going to take some cuttings, and I'm going to put those in the top. And hopefully, oh, come on now, hopefully that'll make the plant much more green from the soil level down, which is my end goal. That's what I'm after. So I don't know, this just doesn't want to come off of here. Come on now. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, I am not going to put this in a bigger pot, I don't think. I hope not, because I don't have one next to me. I'm going to use the same size pot that it's in, because I have a feeling once I take this out of here and get all the soil off of it, it's going to be okay to go back in the same size pot. And this is one plant that you do not want to overpot. It won't kill it, but you won't get your foliage, your little fish. And I, at one time, had this was covered in orange fish-like flowers, fish shapes. So I want to get that back again. This is an epiphyte plant, so in its normal habitat you will find it growing on other plants or on trees. But in the house, obviously, we have it in a pot. Now, there may be some of you out there that I don't know about that actually have these growing on something, and if there is, I'd love to see that. I do have an Instagram page where you can post pictures or send me a private message, and that's also called Linda Sue Plants For You. So very easy to remember. Okay. And of course I forgot my scissors, because it wouldn't be me if I didn't forget something, right? So I'm going to go grab that in a minute. Before I do though, I want to show you this. This is my husband found this for me and brought it home. These are cuttings that I took from this plant a long time ago because I was worried about losing it. I see that one of these is broken, but that's okay. We'll just repot it. And all I did was I just cut one of the stems, took the bottom leaves off, and stuck it in soil. Now, in doing some research for another plant here this last week, I discovered that rooting powder isn't just to promote roots, but also to prevent bacteria from getting up in the plant. And I didn't know that before, so that's just something that I heard somebody say. You know, I don't know if it's a scientific fact, but it might be something you want to try if you're repotting this plant. What else? She likes a lot of water during the growing season. She does not like to dry out, which is why I have these issues here. She likes to be kept evenly moist, not soaked, just evenly moist. She would also benefit greatly from a spraying of just plain water, but I don't do that because I don't want the water to get on things that are surrounding around my plants. If I have something that really needs spraying, I take it to the sink. And this is one of the plants that I did do that with, by the way. I take it to my kitchen sink and just spray all the foliage with my hose end sprayer. But I have not done that in a while, I'm sorry to say. And she's suffering from it. So that's up to you. Or you could take her in the shower. That's another option. Yeah. Okay, so the brighter light is going to give her the darker green leaves as opposed to these faded looking ones. Okay? It will also give you more flowers. And it's also important for me to tell you that plants that have been propagated this way will not bloom the first year that you plant them, but the next year they will. And that's true with a lot of plants, by the way. So, not all, but most, or many, I should say. Okay, so I am going to, I just wanted to show you what my cuttings look like here. And I would like to also say, while we're on the subject, or I'm going to make it the subject, I hope that you can see this okay, and I hope I don't have it in your face. I know that I tend to do that, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I try not to. But I have limited space here, and in order to have my ring light bright enough for you to see what I'm doing, I tend to have the light in the camera a little close, because the camera's got to be in front of the light. Otherwise, you won't see anything. So, until I come up with a better setup here, folks, I hope that this is going to be okay for you. I did have someone that, I guess she was following me off and on, and she did write to me or commented to me that she gets frustrated because she can't see because I'm too close to the camera. And again, I apologize for that. I have had people tell me I'm too far away, and that was a while ago, but I do the best that I can. I want you to know that I hear you and that I do my best to try and accommodate and make my the video a pleasant time for you. I don't want anybody to have to struggle to see or struggle to hear me or be confused about anything. So I am working on it the best I can. So that's all I can say for now. And I hope this one is better for you. And I'm not mentioning any names, but you know who you are. So let me just get rid of this, and I will grab my scissors right away. And I should have said snippers. It's not a scissors. It's a snippers. Okay. And I got my little pokey stick here. These are just skewers for barbecuing. I bought a big package of them for 99 cents at Walmart, at Pick and Save a couple of years ago, and they work really nicely. Okay. They work good for shipping plants. They work good for making holes for plants, and they even work good for a support pole for smaller plants. And they work good for barbecue too. Although I prefer to use steel ones because I don't ever want to have to worry about getting wooden slivers in my mouth, and that is a concern of mine when I use wooden skewers. So I got a whole bunch of metal ones that I use. Long metal ones with wooden handles. Okay, now this is the pot that is the size. It's in this size pot right now, and it's going to go in that size pot again, I think. We'll have to wait and see. But let's get it out of this one first. And I do have a hanging drip tray. I'd like to get some more of these. These are very handy to have. I get these at Stein's Garden Center, or Stein's Garden and Gifts it's called. And I don't believe that's a nationwide store. I think they're only in Wisconsin, but we have a lot of them in Wisconsin. These are, these hooks just hook on the sides of the pots. So if you don't have a drip tray, you need to have that in there. This pot, I could put another tray upside down in here, and that would help slow down the water drainage through those holes. But I'm not going to trust that with this one because it's going, the place that I'm going to hang it cannot get wet underneath it. So I'm just going to wash that other drip tray out and put that back on here as opposed to worrying about that. Alright, let's switch out to my trusty green bowl here. And I'm going to loosen this up around the rim. Oh yeah, she's quite crowded. Ooh, that's not good. I may end up having to put her in a bigger pot. I was hoping not to have to do that. I hope you all had a good week. And I know most people are very happy when Friday is here. Let me get this out of my way for a minute. I'm making quite the mess, but that's okay. I'll clean it up later. Alright, let's see if we can get her out of here. without a catastrophe, hopefully. Yep, it's coming out. Yay. Wonderful. Okay, well, we got success with the first step. Now I want to take a look at the roots and see what we got going on in here. Yeah. She's pretty root bound, my friends. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go and find a bigger pot for her. She will not be happy if I stick her back in there. Oh boy, yeah. Waited too long. Well, I have a few plants like that. I've got another one I'm staring at across the room in my window that has needed repotting in a while too, so yeah, summer just does that, doesn't it? Everything just takes off and it gets away from you, so. And, you know, everybody's always cautions us to do our repotting during the growing season, which is a good rule of thumb to go by. But there are times when we cannot wait until spring or summer. There's times when I've had to repot things in the late fall or in the middle of winter even, and I've never really had a problem doing that. I suppose there's always a first time, and I think it does set them back a little bit, but it's not the end of the world if you have to do that. And I've had to do it quite a few times. So the other thing is, if you're using bright LED lights or grow lights and you have them on at least 12 hours a day, you're mimicking the growing season that's outside. So some advice is not appropriate for when that's the case, because if you're mimicking the same conditions as you would normally have during the growing season outdoors, there is no reason to change what you're doing. For instance, I hear many people say, as far as fertilizing, you know, they tell you to fertilize heavier in the spring and summer and during the growing season, but slow down in the fall, usually around October. Some people say don't fertilize at all in the winter, and they maybe have the best of luck in the world with that, but I don't, and I don't do that. I fertilize all year round, almost every time I water. I would say every fourth time I water, I just use plain water, but I'll water with my fertilizer like 3 times in a row. And then I'll not put any, and I'll just give her plain water in between. But I use 1/4 or less of the strength that it calls for. So I'm not giving it the full, you know, tablespoon or whatever your thing calls for. So, and if you're using the spikes, I don't know what to tell you, because I used those years ago and I did not like them at all. They seem to give a big blast dose of fertilizer in the first 30 days and nothing after that, or very little, and I couldn't regulate how much my plant was getting, so I stopped using those. But again, I know there's people that use them successfully, and good for you. I don't mean to step on any toes here. I just tell people what works for me, okay? All right, now, boy, oh boy, like I said, I'm going to have to go and find another pot for her, because that is not going to be big enough. And actually, I don't think the drip tray that goes under it will be either. So this might take me a little bit. So I'm not going to make you sit here and wait for me. I'm going to pause you, and I will be back. All right, I'm back. I did find a pot, a white one. I wanted a white one. However, the drip tray that I had intended to put underneath does not fit, and even my next size up does not fit. So I'm going to have to, well, I put this in here. This is an old applesauce cup, and I have that over the major holes in here. Now, that's not going to make it waterproof, folks. It's still going to leak out underneath there, but not as readily as if I leave those holes open. So, I'm just going to have to be extremely careful when I water her, and I will probably put a towel or something underneath where that pot's going to hang, just in case there's any leakage. I'm not happy about that because she needs a good drink. This isn't a plant that you can just give a little water to and keep her happy. She needs a really good drink when you water her. So I'm hoping it's not going to be a problem. If it is, I will have to go to plan B, and I'm not sure what that is right now, so we're just going to go with what we got and not fret about it. Okay, life's too short. I did pull out my rooting powder. I guess, going to use that. I felt a little guilty about it. Might as well. But before we do that, let me put some soil in this pot. And I actually have two vessels that have soil. I have my big, huge Tupperware bin. I don't know the brand name, but you know, the big storage bins. I use that to dump all my soil into from the store. And then I use my big black tray here that most of you have seen many times. I usually put in there what I'm going to use for that time or that day or whatever. But it was easier, since I had them both next to me, it was easier just to grab them out of the big one today. Alright, now, let me see. I got too much in, as usual. I do that a lot. We don't want it to be too high in the pot. At least I don't, because I have a tendency of spilling when I water. I get too much in and it goes out over the sides. My goodness, this is still too much. Oh, I wonder if I just maybe needed a deeper pot. Now, I do have a deep a black pot it's more narrow and it's longer. I really just like that shape. I don't know why, but I just do. And I really didn't want a dark colored pot in where I'm putting this, so I'm gonna just do it this way. That's as far down as she's gonna go because I have that little cup in there. Let me just see if I can loosen these roots up a little bit more. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. There. There. That should be good. That should be good right there. I think you can see that. I'd be happier if she was about another half an inch lower, but it's alright. It'll be alright. Now I'm going to backfill. I got some help this week. daughter and granddaughter. And I was so grateful because I haven't been able to do anything, and it's really been getting me down. And the help I needed, the things I needed help with, were things that had to be done before I could move on to the next step that I could do by myself. So I am so happy that I'm able to move forward now with that. And yesterday I got a surprise. My daughter called, and you know, I just feel led to say this today. My daughter has been battling cancer since I believe September of last year, and she's not out of the woods. And in addition to that, she now has heart issues because of the chemo, because she wasn't well when she got the cancer. So I ask those of you who believe in prayer to please keep her in your prayers. Her name is Trisha. And she has a little 10-year-old daughter. It's been quite a year for us, folks, but you know what? We're going to get through it. I'm confident of that. Part of the reason I'm telling you this is because in spite of all of the obstacles that she faces in life, she still worries about everybody but herself. She's still a very giving, kind and giving person. And a perfect example of that is we had talked a long time ago about trading TVs. She had a portable, well, they're all portable now, but she had a regular TV, or a Roku, I forget, a Roku, I think, in one of her rooms that she never uses. And I was looking for a TV that I could watch YouTube on in my craft room. And because I haven't been able to do anything in that room for quite a while, a couple of years actually, and so I didn't pursue that trade. But things have changed. Things are looking up, and we got done what we had to get done in that room. And the main thing was I needed my girls to come and go through all the stuff that was in the closet, because a lot of that my grandkids and great-grandkids have outgrown, and it's just taking up space that I desperately need. So she has come several times, and she can't work long, you know. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours is about her max, and that's fine. And so we got that part done, and then that was a couple weeks ago. And then yesterday I got a phone call, and she said, "Mom, keep the front door open." And I said, "Okay, well, you have a key." But she said, "I'm going to have my hands full. I need you to keep the front door unlocked if you're laying down." And I said, "Okay." And then she told me that she had a surprise for me. I was like, okay. Well, the surprise was she picked me up. Oh, she said I needed to write her out a check for an amount of money, and I said, oh, okay. She said, because I went and got it for you, but I can't afford to pay for it, and she can't. She's on disability, so that's quite all right. And I would never expect her to do that anyway. So instead of trading TVs, she went and got me a new one, which we did discuss last week. And I wanted something, like I said, in my craft room where I could watch my cable, so I like to watch old movies, and also watch my YouTube and watch my crafting and plant videos and things that I pick and choose to watch. And I wasn't able to do that on the TV I had in there, so she picked me up a small TV. It's very small. It's a 24-incher, but that's all I need. And I was so excited when she brought that. I can't even tell you how that made my day. It's going to make my whole month. You know, it's just one of those things that it was a very unexpected, very pleasant, very pleasant surprise. And she got to play, she actually played one of her old songs on the piano that I haven't heard in years. And in fact, the funny part about it is the last time I heard her play, well, maybe not the last time, but years ago, she played this one particular song over and over and over, to the point where I thought, if I have to hear that one more time, I'm going to lose it. Well, when I heard it yesterday, it was music to my ears, and it brought tears to my eyes. And it was so good to have life seem normal again. And that has carried with me to today, and probably will for quite a while. So I was very excited for yesterday, and I'm more excited for tomorrow. Things are going to be okay. All right. Enough about the mushy stuff, but I thought I'd share that with you. It was a very pleasant day. And my little granddaughter, my 10-year-old, she actually, I taught her how to play a song, and she picked it up pretty good too, so who knows. We have a lot of musical talent in our family, and I don't say that to brag, folks. I just say it because it is true, and, you know, music used to be a huge part of my life. Not so much anymore, for various reasons, but we won't go into all that. But yeah, it was a fun day. And once I have that room put back in order the way it used to be, I'm going to take you all through there. And like I said the other day, I don't have a lot of plants in there, but I have a few. And I've had a number of people that actually were anxious to see that room, whether it had plants in it or not. So I am going to definitely do a short video on that, for those of you that want to see it. Okay. All right. Now you can see here, hopefully you can see where all these leaves are gone. And I'm not going to tape all this because we'll be here for hours. In fact, I actually need to take a break right now, so I'm going to put you all on pause, and I will be back with the finished product. But before I do that, I just want to show you how I'm going to do this, okay? The branches, well, like this one, for instance, it has one leaf on it. I'm not going to keep that. I'm going to cut that one out completely. ones that have a lot of leaves on, I will leave. For instance, I think I'll leave this one for now. I prefer not to leave anything that doesn't have at least this much on it, but I'm afraid if I cut all that away, I won't have any plant left. And it's possible that that is the best thing to do for this plant right now. I don't know, but I just don't have the courage to do that. I don't want to lose all my foliage. I mean, I don't want to cut it all the way back. That's something that would be very drastic for me to do. But, and I just don't know how these got so tangled. I don't understand how that happened. Okay. We want to try to get it back to that cascading look, okay? Now, here's something that and this is why I'm not going to do this whole thing, folks. It's going to be very time consuming. But what I am going to do in the end, and I'll show you that when it's all done. I'm going to take, let's take this one. She's got some green, healthy green here. So let's take this one. I'll cut this back to here. She's got a node. She's got quite a few nodes. Now, if I were to put all this in the pot, it would root. But I'm not going to do that because I've got all these leaves on here. I'm going to make 2 cuttings out of this. When you're dealing with this plant, you really don't want to have more than a 3 to 4 inch long cutting. So I'm going to cut right here, right above this leaf. And that'll leave me with this piece. I will put that in rooting powder, and that's going to go right back into the soil here. Now, you can put that in water, or you can put it in a separate pot, however you wish to do it. But for me, I'm going to cut those off. I'm going to leave them sit a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to clean this up really well. And then I'll pot the ones that I'm going to pot. And then I'll come back and show you the finished product, okay? Alright. And you won't have to wait because with the magic of the camera, for you, I'll be right back. So stay tuned. Okay, and I'm back. And here we have the finished product. I'm hoping you all can see this clearly. I put it up on a little pedestal here so you could really get the draping effect. And I'm not sure if that's coming through real clear on the camera. I'm looking through the lens, and I think because of the background, you're not probably seeing it as nicely as I wish you were, but just know that it is, the top of it is cascading again like it should be. I cut off as much of the old dead stems as I could find, and I untangled this as best I could, and I also added back in the top little cuttings that I had. I, once again, just as a reminder, use a sterile cutting tool, whether it's a scissors or a knife, whatever your choice of cutting tool may be. Make sure it is sterile. And for those of you that don't already know, you can accomplish that simply by squirting that tool with a mixture of alcohol and water. I don't suggest using straight alcohol because if you can't get most of that off, that could harm the plant. So alcohol and water mixture is good, and I use 1 part to 4 parts water for that spray. But it's not written in stone. You could use half and half and it would be fine. Then I spray the cutting tool, and then I wipe it off with a paper towel and give it a second to dry before I start to use it. And I think I neglected to tell that in the beginning here, so I just wanted to mention that for you. And then also, I don't think I talked about the lighting, and I just want to mention that although this plant will grow in low to medium light, you probably won't get any goldfish flowers on her, and she might get straggly on you. This is kind of what happened to me having her in the laundry area. Although the room itself is, I would call it medium light. So she stayed alive and she did produce new growth, but she is obviously not in optimal condition. So the room I'm going to be putting her in is a much brighter room, and I'm hoping that that is going to cheer her up a bit and she will start to really thrive in there. That is my hope. And I will be showing that. She's going in my craft room, so I will be showing that to you when I show you the craft room. But for now, I want to thank everybody for supporting me. Thank you so much for subscribing and for giving me a thumbs up. And those of you, I have some people that share my videos to their Facebook and also to their Instagram, and I just want to give you a shout out and say thank you for taking the time to do that. It really does help my channel, which helps me, and I appreciate it very much. Alright folks, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to go load this up and get it out to you, and again, I hope that this was helpful and I hope you enjoyed. If I don't talk to you before then, I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm probably going to be doing another repotting video again because I have so many to do, and many of you love those. You've told me personally that you very much like the repotting videos. So we'll see what the next video brings, but until then, I hope you all have a great weekend and a safe weekend. Thank you again for coming. Bye now.